Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good night. Today is Pi Day. Happy Pi Day to everybody. March 14th, 2019 is today's date. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing the numerology of the alleged death of child beauty queen JonBenet Ramsey, who is said to have died on Christmas Day in 1996. Now, in all my videos, I discuss numerology with a strong focus on the language of Gematria. This language, which is the practice of coding numbers into words, is used in accordance with dates on the calendar, both date numerologies and date durations. The simplest alphabetic order cipher in Gematria, called English Ordinal, we number the alphabet 1 through 26. You'll also see the reduction methods. These are commonly known as Pythagorean gematria. In these methods, each double-digit number is reduced to a single digit by adding the numbers together. And as we go along, we'll introduce a couple other ciphers, including the Jewish gematria cipher. This is also called Latin gematria, as it's the cipher that's based on the original Latin alphabet, with more modern English characters placed at the end. English Extended, on the other hand, is built similarly, but uses the current 26-letter English alphabet. So most people understand that there's something very fishy about this death, just on the surface. Now, I'm calling it a hoax. Of course, I personally have no inside knowledge as to whether or not this girl died. But the case itself was definitely staged, and the elites who are running our mainstream media and coding these news stories, they don't just do these things on any old random day. They don't wake up one morning and decide, oh, let's just run a fake news event today. They don't flip a coin, and say let's do it on tomorrow instead of next week Thursday. There's always a numerical riddle behind everything. Now, this code of gematria is based largely in the Bible. Of course, the Hebrew Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, coded in Hebrew gematria, as well as the entire Bible. The New Testament features the story of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. It's said that Jesus was crucified at age 33. In this language of gematria, the phrase crucifixion of Jesus Christ sums to 303. We're also going to be talking about how this death, as well as the death of her mother, Patsy Ramsey, in 2006, is aligned with total solar eclipses of the time. In the New Testament, 3 of the 4 Gospels outline a scenario in which Jesus Christ was likely crucified under a solar eclipse. So when you pay attention to the dates on which solar eclipses occur, particularly total solar eclipses, the riddle really begins to come together. And as I frequently allege in these videos, high levels of Freemasonry are responsible for giving us our news, and it certainly appears that this is no different. The capital G in the Freemason emblem has gematria of 33. And this is because when you use capital letters, where you add 26 for every capital letter, you'll see here G is 33. In another cipher that uses capital letters, called Frank Baconis on my site, where the letters are interspersed, you'll see that capital G equals 13. So we'll discuss how both the numbers 13 and 33 are significant to this ritual. And in fact, in English Extended, the police department that's responsible for investigating this crime, Boulder Police Department, has gematria of 1333. Now, 33 is a number that's associated with ritual human sacrifice, not just because we know that Jesus was crucified at age 33 per the Bible, but in Jewish gematria, the number 33 when spelled out sums to 895. Recall it was Judas who betrayed Jesus that led to that ritual sacrifice. The phrase ritual human sacrifice also having a value of 895. and 95. Now pay attention to the other numbers in the phrase ritual human sacrifice. In reduction, it's 94. Using the reverse alphabetic order, where Z is 1, Y is 2, and A is 26, ritual human sacrifice sums to 329. With that reverse method reduced, ritual human sacrifice equals 131. When we take the name JonBenet Patricia Ramsey and plug it into the calculator, notice we get 3 of the 4 same numbers in our 4 base methods. JonBenet Ramsey was born on August 6th, 1990. 8 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 0. This gives us a life lesson number, or reduced numerology, of 33. So here we have a girl who was born on a date with 33 numerology. Her mother, named Patsy Ramsey, and you have to appreciate the name Patsy in light of the fact that her parents were commonly blamed by the public for this death. On the date that JonBenet was born, Patsy Ramsey was 33 years old. JonBenet, although she died in Boulder, Colorado, was born in Atlanta, Georgia. The city of Atlanta sits on the 33rd parallel north of the equator. And think about how Atlanta is abbreviated. ATL equals 33. On Christmas Day, when JonBenet was allegedly killed, not only was she 2,333 days old, but if you include the end date, she was exactly 333 weeks and 3 days old. Now earlier we looked at the gematria of the phrase crucifixion of Jesus Christ, mentioning the 303 in ordinal and how this lines up with the age at which Christ was crucified. Well, in the reduction methods, notice we have 123 and 147 with the alphabetic order reversed. JonBenet's full birth numerology, 8 plus 6 plus 19 plus 90, is 123. And August 6th is the date that leaves 147 days in the year. Furthermore, consider how the word conspiracy also sums to 123 ordinal and 147 reverse. In light of this number 123, her parents were born a span of exactly 10 years and 23 days apart from one another. And in numerology, these zeros in the results can be ignored, so this number reflects 123. To top this off, on the date that JonBenet Ramsey was born, her father, who was born on the date December 7th, he was 123 days before his birthday. Her father, who's named JonBenet Ramsey, he was 43 years old on the date that his daughter was born. Using the reduction method, Jesus Christ equals 43. Also notice how Jesus Christ has a value of 146 when we reverse the alphabetic order. JonBenet Patricia Ramsey, in the trigonal cipher, or maybe it's just JonBenet Ramsey, sums to 1406. This is another base method using the alphabetic order that uses associated triangular numbers. This incident occurred in the city of Boulder, Colorado. Boulder sums to 77, 32, and 40. The name Christ equals 77, 32, and 40. Furthermore, JonBenet Ramsey, without the accented E, Mind you, the gematria values of both, with or without the accented E, are going to be significant in this story, and I'll explain as I go. Her name sums to 77 in the reverse reduction method, and the place that she was buried was Marietta, Georgia. In reduction, Marietta, Georgia equals 77. To kick the video off, I mentioned how capital G has this value of 1313. JonBenet Ramsey, using English extended gematria, has a value of 1313. Now, 13 is also a number that can be associated with sacrifice. Notice how in Jewish gematria, 13 equals 347. Using Hebrew gematria, one of the languages where this practice was originated, along with Greek, the word sacrifice equals 347. JonBenet's full name, both using Francis Bacon gematria and the English Kabbalah, a cipher we'll look at a little later, her name sums to 347 in both of those methods. We also touched on how her full name has matching gematria with ritual human sacrifice in 3 of the 4 base methods. Notice the only number she does not share with ritual human sacrifice is 211. This was instead in the gematria of the cause of death. Officially, it said that she was killed by asphyxia by strangulation, craniocerebral trauma. And with the S exception, one of our alternate reduction methods here, this sums to 211. Also notice the 499 using the alphabetic order. It's also important to understand the significance of prime numbers in the study of numerology. 499 is the 95th prime number. This incident occurred in Boulder, Colorado, which equals 95 when abbreviated. JonBenet's mom's name, Patricia Ann Ramsey, in Jewish gematria equals 950. Also notice how her name sums to 187. 187, a number that's commonly affiliated with the homicide code. Using capital letters, Boulder, Colorado, when abbreviated, also summing to 187. There's another pretty significant form of gematria called satanic gematria. This is centered around the number 666. The value of satanic gematria in this cipher equals 666. And it begins with the number 36, while the 36th triangular number is 666. Using this method, the name JonBenet Ramsey equals 616. This is the Jewish gematria of the phrase ritual sacrifice, 616. In fact, even just the word ritual, which has a value of 81, both ordinal and reverse, also a 27 in reduction. This is the same as the last name Ramsey, 81, 81, and 27. As far as her birth date, August 6th, this is the date that can be written 8/6. The phrase blood sacrifice equals 86. So does human sacrifice. Also, August 6th is the 218th day of the year, and in extended form, the word death equals 218. So on my website, there's a category called Kabbalah Gematria, and this is derived from texts written by Aleister Crowley in the early 1900s, but they've been around for longer. I point to this Wikipedia page for anybody who's doubting the legitimacy of such a method. And really, when you think about it, this method makes sense because it travels every 11 letters in the alphabet. So using the English Kabbalah, JonBenet Ramsey equals 199. Well, this is an interesting number because she was born in the year 1990. Furthermore, 199 is a prime number. Notice here it's the 46th prime number. This story is about the sacrifice, which equals 46, of a beauty queen, which equals 46. Notice also how beauty queen sums to 161 and 53 using the reverse methods. JonBenet Ramsey equals 161 and 53 in ordinal and reduction. The word sacrifice in the reverse reduction method sums to 62. The date on which she died, Christmas Day of 1996, this date had a life lesson number of 62. And using the S exception, where the letter S, the 19th letter, 1 plus 9 equals 10. When it's only reduced once, JonBenet Ramsey equals 62. So I kept the Kabbalah method open because the word sacrifice here sums to 133. The date that Ramsey supposedly died, 12 plus 25 plus 96, also sums to 133. And this was on Christmas Day. Notice how in the reverse order, Christmas equals 133. This famous news story out of the state of Colorado. Colorado also 133 in that same method. Now on my channel, I talk about not just durations from the characters' birthdays, but we've also found that solar eclipses are incredibly significant to the news, especially in stories involving death. As I said earlier, Christ crucified under what appeared to be a solar eclipse. The word sacrifice using the alphabetic order equals 73. The phrase ritual sacrifice equals 73 in reduction. Here we have a story about a child beauty queen, which coincidentally or not sums to 73. This girl was the daughter of a man named JonBenet Ramsey. His name also has the 73. The phrase solar eclipse sums to 73 in the reverse reduction method. And just to further drive this home, think about the holiday Saturnalia, an ancient Roman pagan holiday which was celebrated by sacrifice. Saturnalia even sums to 73. But back to the gematria of solar eclipse. Notice how in these two reduction methods and the reverse alphabetic order, the name JonBenet Ramsey has the same three values, 53, 190, and 73. But pay special attention to the 190 number that she shares with the phrase solar eclipse. If you measure from the date that she died back to the most recent total solar eclipse that occurred on October 24th of 1995, you find it was exactly a span of 1 year, 9 weeks, and 0 days later. This same duration from that total eclipse to her death is also 1 year, 2 months, and 1 day. The phrase blood sacrifice equals 121. This is also 61 weeks and 1 day. In satanic gematria, blood sacrifice equals 611. Meanwhile, the phrase total solar eclipse, which shares 67 and 257 gematria with blood sacrifice, in the reverse reduction method, we get a value of 104. JonBenet Ramsey, born 8 plus 6 plus 90 equals 104. And the date that she died was 10 weeks and 4 days before the next total solar eclipse. Furthermore, 10 weeks and 4 days in this instance also equates to exactly 2 months and 12 days. The name JonBenet Ramsey, without the accent, equals 212. And in both primary English Kabbalah methods, the phrase ritual sacrifice sums to 212 in both of these ciphers. Using English extended gematria, the phrase eclipse sacrifice, which this obviously is, we get a value of 448. The name JonBenet Ramsey equals 1,448. 448, a number that's associated with the ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry. They have a 448 in the alphabetic order. Also in the trigonal gematria method, Scottish rite equals 1448, just like the gematria of JonBenet Ramsey. Freemasonry has this famous motto, Ordo ab Chao, which is Latin. In English, this is order out of chaos. Order out of chaos has this value of 777. This is the same as numeric ritual, 777. Now, if we were to use the associated prime numbers, again with the alphabetic order, JonBenet Patricia Ramsey equals 777. If you multiply 7 times 7 times 7, you get a product of 343. And this brings us back to her parents, John and Patricia Ramsey, who have gematria of 343 using the reverse alphabetic order. Speaking of her parents, with that out of the way, let's talk about the death of JonBenet's mother, Patsy Ramsey, who is said to have passed away from ovarian cancer in the year 2006, a little less than 10 years after the death of her daughter. Patsy Ramsey was born on December 29th of 1956. On the date her daughter was born, she was 220 days after her birthday. The name Patricia Ramsey equals 220 in the reverse alphabetic order. This is also 7 months and 9 days, with the end date included. Her full name, Patricia Ann Ramsey, equals 79 in reduction. If we were to include the end date, we get 221 days. This woman's maiden name was Patricia Pogg, which sums to 221 in that same reverse ordinal method. And just to point out how these types of alignments are certainly no coincidence but are somehow crafted, consider that on the date JonBenet was born, her father was a span of 243 days after his birthday. Well, in the alphabetic order, her full name, JonBenet Patricia Ramsey, equals 243. So these parents were perfectly aligned with the birth of her daughter. So Patricia Ramsey, she passed away on the date June 24th. And the reason I was picking on Freemasonry earlier is because June 24th is the anniversary of the establishment of Freemasonry. We'll look at that more in a second. But what I want to point out is that Patsy Ramsey died exactly 46 weeks after the anniversary of the death of her daughter. Remember, the 46th prime number is 199, JonBenet Ramsey equals 199 in the Kabbalah. She was born in 1990. If you measure from Patsy's death to her husband's birthday, notice she died 199 days after. So real quickly, let's look up the Grand Premier Lodge of England. This lodge is credited with being the origin of modern-day Freemasonry, although this knowledge was certainly around for much longer than that. Notice how the formation was June 24th, 1717. June 24th being the anniversary, the same date that Patsy Ramsey died. If you measure from their establishment to her death, we get exactly 289 years. Well, the number 289 is 17 times 17. Freemasonry was founded under a full moon. Well, actually, technically there was a full moon the previous night. In Hebrew Gematria, full moon equals 289. Also notice the 17 and 170 Gematria of moon using the Jewish methods. Now, when we're talking about the moon, we find that Patsy Ramsey was certainly coded with some of these numbers. Consider how the moon has an equatorial diameter of exactly 2,160 miles. Patsy Ramsey, as shown in her photo here, was crowned Miss West Virginia. When we take this quoted phrase and drop it in the calculator, we get 216 in the alphabetic order and 216 in the reverse alphabetic order. A nice little 216 over here in Jewish as well, just for kicks. The 108 also stands out. In English Gematria, full moon equals 108 in both ordinal and reverse. And we're told that the moon is 108 times its diameter from the Earth, just as the sun is 108 times its diameter from the Earth. We're told that Patsy Ramsey's death was due to ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer in Jewish Gematria equals 1013. Now this represents the number 113, like 113. Using Satanic Gematria, her daughter's name, JonBenet Patricia Ramsey, sums to 1013 as well. And if you measure from the death of JonBenet to the death of Patsy, it was within one day of 113 months apart. Remember, 113, the primary number of deception. All of these words on your screen, using either the ordinal or reverse methods, sum to 113. And just think about the word lie. You know, you got an L and an I, which sort of look like the number 1, and then an E, which is a backwards 3, like 113. Another significant number of deception is 317. Just look at this number 317. If you were to flip this number all the way upside down, you get the word lie. And using the alphabetic order, the word lie flipped upside down equals 317. Well, on the date that Patsy Ramsey died, her husband, JonBenet Ramsey, was exactly 3,107 weeks old. So did this woman really die of cancer? Was she just a character, an actor, removed from the scene by the numbers? Were they even ever married in the first place? Who knows? I also want to point out how she was crowned Miss West Virginia, as we mentioned before. Well, West Virginia has this gematria of 156. This is the Hebrew gematria of the word eclipse. And it's no coincidence. An eclipse occurs only and always either 1, 5, or 6 lunar phases after the most recent eclipse. Cracking open this ALW cipher once again, the phrase total eclipse sums to 177. Patsy died 177 days after her birthday. In the Kabbalah method, solar eclipse equals 146. So does ovarian cancer, the disease from which she is said to have died. Notice she died at age 49. Well, the 49th prime number is 227. Ovarian cancer, using the reverse alphabetic order, sums to 227. 227 is the Hebrew gematria of the phrase total eclipse. In the reverse reduction method, ovarian cancer equals 83, which is both total and solar eclipse in the Hebrew ordinal method. If you measure from her death to the date of the next total solar eclipse, you get a span of exactly 777 days. This stands out because not only did Patsy Ramsey win the crown of Miss West Virginia in the year 77, but the name Patricia Pogg, her maiden name, equals 77. And with the S exception, Patricia Ramsey equals 77, her married name. If you measure from her death to the most recent total solar eclipse, you find it was a span of 88 days. That total eclipse fell on the 88th day of the year. Ovarian cancer is also commonly referred to as cancer of the ovaries, which sums to 88 in reduction. To cap this off, she also died 8 months, 8 days before the next total lunar eclipse, whereas this entire time we've been measuring to solar eclipses. Now, the reason I find this phrase here to be significant is because it also has the 187 in ordinal. Remember 187, the homicide code. The phrase total eclipse equals 187 in reverse. This woman's full name, Patricia Ann Ramsey, equals 187 in ordinal. Her nickname, Patsy Ann Ramsey, equals 187 in reverse. So it certainly seems like no coincidence that cancer of the ovaries, which equals 187, was the cause of her death. Also, ovarian has gematria overlap with JonBenet, interestingly enough. And on Patsy's Wikipedia page, they tell us that she was first diagnosed with cancer when she was 37 years old. The word cancer equals 37 in reverse reduction. So there's a few more alignments here. She was born in the year 56. She died on a date with 56 numerology. Total eclipse equals 56. This 190 number also showed up. That's how many days are left in the year when she died. So when we're talking about this case of JonBenet, perhaps one of the most suspicious things about this case is the fact that there was a ransom note left at the crime scene. Apparently, her parents reported her missing, and then 8 hours later, they found her body. I'm not sure what kind of criminal leaves a ransom note and the body at the crime scene, but that's what happened in this case. Now, if you look up this ransom note, shown here on the right side of your screen, I actually went through and typed this whole thing out into the Gematria calculator. Before I talk to you about the values, it's important to understand the significance of this number in relation to solar eclipses. This number, 1331, which I already identified as having something to do with solar eclipses, this is before we discovered the most significant eclipse of all time, perhaps, which is the only total solar eclipse that never touched a major body of water. This eclipse was in the year 1331. 1331 eclipse equals 1331 in Latin Gematria. This was the only total solar eclipse of 1331, and it fell on the date November 30th, which equals 1331. When you write out 1,331, you get a number 1919. Of course, there's 19 years in the moon's metonic cycle, perhaps the most significant cycle of time. Well, if you were to take this ransom note, and notice how even there's a couple of words misspelled, like they misspelled possession, they misspelled the word business. If you drop this entire ransom note in the calculator, you get an alphabetic order value of 19,190. This, my friends, is not a coincidence. This is more eclipse coding on this very clear, very obvious, ritualistic eclipse sacrifice. So, if you didn't think there were enough things suspicious about this case before, hopefully you're willing to accept that the language of Gematria is in practice, as it's something I talk about basically every day on this channel. Before I wrap this video up, I want to talk about the conspiracy theory on the internet about Katy Perry possibly being a grown-up JonBenet Ramsey, assuming that JonBenet actually had her death faked. Now, personally, I have no idea. I don't know what side to bet on this. I guess what really bothers me is the age difference. There's 6 years. It wouldn't be impossible to fudge, but, you know, Katy Perry, she didn't look 18 or 17 when she first hit the big scene in 2008. So I don't know. Like I said, this doesn't prove or debunk anything, just like this picture. And there are many pictures of Katy Perry as a child. And I don't know. Do they look like JonBenet? I guess you could argue they do. I'm not so sure. You know, guys, one thing people don't realize about me is that I'm a skeptic, right? Like, you kind of have to prove things to me. And Gematria was something where I felt like I had to prove it myself. That's why I built gematrinator.com, so we could really study this carefully. And after some study, I realized that absolutely this code is being used. So this to me still seems like a conspiracy theory, but there's a good chance that they might either be related, perhaps they're clones of one another. I mean, nothing would shock me at this point in this crazy, upside-down, insane, transgendered world, right? And we know that the elites use numerology to code their mainstream celebrities. So, I'm here to tell you, if you want to build a case using numbers, saying that JonBenet and Katy Perry are the same person, well, you might have a decent case. So first of all, let's just quickly touch on the numerology of Katy Perry. Now, Katy Perry, this isn't her real name. This is her stage name. Her real name is Katy Hudson. And in fact, she released an album under the name Katy Hudson in 2001. In Gematria, Katy Hudson sums to 138 in the alphabetic order. Katy Perry was born in the Orwellian year of 1984, just like Mark Zuckerberg. Her full birth numerology, 10 plus 25 plus 19 plus 84, equals 138, just like her name, Katy Hudson. This date also had a life lesson number of 57. The name Katy on its own sums to 57 in ordinal. So this is just to point out that Katy Perry is more or less a coded celebrity. But here's where it gets weird. In the two primary large number ciphers that I teach, again, English Extended and Jewish Gematria, notice how Katy Hudson equals 1,443. Meanwhile, the girl that many people believe she truly is, JonBenet Ramsey, equals 1,443. How about this? The name Ramsey equals 81, 27, and 81. The name Hudson, 81, 27, and 81. And if you measure from JonBenet's birthday to Katy Perry's birthday, you get a span of 81 days, just like how Ramsey and Hudson both equal 81. If you don't include the end date, you get 80 days. 80 is the ordinal gematria of the name JonBenet. Also notice the 109, using the reverse alphabetic order. Katy Perry's full name is Catherine Elizabeth Hudson, which sums to 109 in the alphabetic order. And here's another one where I think there's definitely a clue here that some kind of coding is definitely going on with these deaths. And these two celebrities, definitely connected by the numbers. We mentioned in the decode of JonBenet how she was 333 weeks and 3 days old when she died. Well, if you instead look at how old Katy Perry would have been on the date of Ramsey's death, that is, she was 4,444 days old. What are the odds of this? This is pretty crazy stuff. The word kill equals 44. The word killing equals 444. This is also 146 months. Remember, using trigonal gematria, the name JonBenet Ramsey equals 1406. Just like the name Jesus Christ, 146. One more interesting alignment I want to point out about these two names. JonBenet Patricia Ramsey in Jewish gematria sums to 1711. 1711 is the 58th triangular number. The name Catherine Elizabeth Hudson equals 271. 271 is the 58th prime number. So the number 58 tied to both of their names as well. And remember, it's Freemasonry that we're discussing being responsible for these events. In reduction, Freemasonry equals 58. So does Katy Perry with the K exception. In fact, Freemasonry and Katy Perry both also sum to 139. We mentioned this 104 alignment with JonBenet's death. Her birth numerology, 104, dying 10 weeks, 4 days before the next total solar eclipse. Well, in the reverse alphabetic order, the name Katy Perry equals 104. In secondary Kabbalah gematria, Katy Perry's full name equals 329. JonBenet Patricia Ramsey sums to 329 in reverse ordinal. Now, remember this 329 as well as the 94 and 131. These all show up in the phrase ritual human sacrifice. The only number she doesn't match is 211, although the cause of her death sums to 211. But if you measure between the birthdays of JonBenet Ramsey and Katy Perry, you get 2,111 days. This is also exactly 301 weeks and 4 days. 3.14 like pi, 3014. Pi might be the most significant irrational number. The other one would be the golden ratio. Not the golden ration, although that does sound delicious. The golden ratio is 1.61. The name JonBenet Ramsey equals 161. The name Hudson equals 161 with capital letters. And Catherine Hudson equals 1601 and extended. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I mean, the pictures are fairly similar. Like, I look at things like the distance of her eyes being apart from one another. I mean, there's nothing in these photos that prove they're not the same person. Um, Other researchers have noticed that JonBenet has a mole on one side of her neck, and they actually believe that this photo is flipped because there's pictures with the mole on the other side. And Katy Perry has one too, not so visible in this photo, but it's definitely there. And I just have no idea. Like I said, I have an open mind. I'm willing to believe that they might be the same person. I think it might be more likely that they're either related or, clones of something like that. I don't know. Who's Evangeline? Somebody called me out? What? Why would someone call the Gematrinator out? That's weird. If you want to elaborate on that, that'd be great. I'm kind of curious to see what that's all about. And while I wait for an answer over there, the one thing that really got me about this conspiracy theory about Katy Perry and JonBenet Ramsey, I mean, it just stands to reason, right? Like, JonBenet was performing in front of huge crowds of people at the age of 5 and 6. Katy Perry obviously programmed from a very young age to do her duty. There's videos of Katy Perry where she looks like she's in a trance prior to her music. Oh, I made an error. Whose birthday? All right, I don't like to make errors on this channel, so now I'm going to scan the entire chat until I found out what the hell I did wrong. I don't think I got any birthdays wrong, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can verify it on their Wikipedia anyway. Oh, no, guys. But there's... No, that's not an accident. Look. The point I was making is that there's 81 days between their birthdays. So Katy Perry was born in 1984. This is where we get the pi number, 3.14, between their birthdays, or the 2,111 days, right? I'm just saying that there's also 81 days between their birthdays. And this is still significant, all right? So just think about earlier this week, we had a story about Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, right? Remember that? Oh, where was the number? I know it was in here. Oh, I'm gonna have to dig this up because I started it. Crap. Lori Loughlin, wiki. Felicity Huffman, wiki. Okay. Jeez. Notice how these two women were in the news earlier this week. They were both arrested on the same day, or at least indicted on the same day, because allegedly they were paying huge bribes to get their kids into college. Their names sum to 2302, and their birthdays are 232 days apart, even though they were born in different years. So this is part of the riddle. This is definitely what they're using. I mean, whether or not she was born in 84 or 90, it's still the same number of days between their birthdays. So, not really a mistake, but good looking out because, I rely on mathematical accuracy here in my channel, so this is very important. Anyway, what I wanted to point out about Katy Perry and JonBenet Ramsey is when I first heard about the theory, I went on YouTube to look for the video, right? And, well, as you can see by the views on my channel, YouTube decides that they are the authority on what we as people in this country are, or in this world, are and aren't allowed to see. So videos like mine get squashed way down the list. You can't even find the original video claiming that JonBenet and Katy Perry are the same person. Notice all of the results are from mainstream media outlets. Entertainment Tonight, New York Daily News, Netflix, ABC, BuzzFeed, CNN. And it just goes on and on and on. Look at this, scrolling down. Red Carpet, 9 News, Inside Edition, USA Today. Where the hell is the original video? And I found this one. I'm like, oh, maybe this guy's talking, but he looks crazy.
Or has the illusion been shattered?
And then you realize
people need to wake up. Staying in the mind cloud.
And you realize this guy is he's just making fun of conspiracies, right? Like, he's one of these idiots who's brainwashed by the mainstream media machine and thought it would be funny to make a video. And obviously, you know, people aren't stupid. He doesn't even have more likes than dislikes on this video. So, some moron like this, I should shut up before I get sued. But yeah, you can't find the video. It's totally gone. So all you get is these mainstream media outlets mocking the conspiracy theory. This one is a joke too. You can't find it. So I was like, man, why are they squashing the hell out of this? Maybe it's freaking true. So I'm telling you guys, if you're looking for numbers to support your case, the numbers are damn well there. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this video. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I know this video was a little more complex than some of my videos. Maybe it wasn't. It's hard for me to tell, but either way, it's clear to see what they're doing right off the bat. Veracity, by the way, in the chat here. You need to tell me something, dude. I got a Discord server. If you go to gematrinator.com, go up to the miscellaneous tab and click Discord chat. I think it makes you sign up with your email, but I'm pretty much on there most of the time. That's definitely the best way to get a hold of me right now. My emails are way behind, and I haven't caught up anywhere near like where I've wanted to. So, yeah, just send me a message or something there, all right? All right, everyone. Once again, like, share, and subscribe. My Discord ID is Gematrinator, as you might expect. All right, everyone. Have yourselves a great night. Peace, love, and God bless. We'll see you next time. Peace.